by Ralph Aaron, and from Sri Lanka, Shanika Clay. The track goes live. We're on our formation lap.
Yeah, Shanika Clay, another one that went well in the first round in Belgium 6 weeks ago. Comes all the way from Sri Lanka. But the trip was worthwhile for him because he made it onto the podium at Genk in the first round of the championship. I think he did quite as well in the pre-final, which is why he's not right up there in terms of championship points. He's there in 4th place, but in the pre-final he had a very good run and finished in 3rd place behind Connor Hall and the winner Lando Norris. So terrific effort by him, and we'll see what he can do. See what he can do here in this race. But he's got more work to do from the 5th row of the grid, and he's surrounded by very quick drivers. And you mentioned Thomas Issa there, who was very quick at Genk and going really well here, but in the dry, hot conditions. And this is going to be, again, a steep learning curve for the Jamaican driver in kart number 55 from the 4th row of the grid. But he's got a hugely experienced team behind him in Strawberry Racing, and I'm sure will have been giving him lots of tips and have the right setup on that car ahead of this race. So Connor Hall, also for Strawberry Racing, on the pole position. Josh Price for Coles Racing shares the front row of the grid with him. And then you've got Yuri Vips and Renus van Kamphout starting on the 2nd row of the grid for this race. Leonard Hugenboom and David Wood completing the top 6. Thomas Issa and Philip Hamprecht, the German driver. Ralph Aaron and Shanika Clay completing the top 10. It's going to be a 7-lap race again. And just looking at the circuit there on the screen, this is the exit to turn 5, the run onto the back straight, this S-bend section. You can see that dry line starting to come now. So what they'll ideally have on is not brand new, very, very grippy wet tyres, but slightly worn, almost intermediate type tyres. There's not an intermediate tyre as such, like you get in Formula 1.
Intermediate by default.
Intermediate by default, yeah, worn down. Always worth keeping a set of worn down wets in case it's like this. The wet tyres, the brand new wet tyres, would just give too much grip and will get too hot and will go off very quickly in the race. So they can't put slicks on yet, so they want something in between, really. But it's that difficult phase of a track drying out where it's greasy now rather than wet, and the treaded rubber, the channels in the tyres, the grooves, can't really do anything. There's no surface water for them to pick up. And also what you get if drivers run wide and then come back onto the circuit, they drag all the grass and the mud back onto the track, and it gets even greasier and slippier. So in some respects it can be more treacherous than when it's properly wet out there.
Well, our screen shows none of the drivers at the moment, but when we cut we shall see that the very slow approach by Connor Hall and Josh Price. I don't think this start's going to be aborted for too quick an approach speed. Well done, guys. You've brought them round sensibly. A 7-lap race for the juniors coming up now. And we're racing, and Connor Hall getting a little bit of a nudge from Yuri Vips, I think. Josh Price playing the sensible game there and not trying to do anything silly from the off-pole position, just slotting himself into 3rd place as they went through. And the result of it is that, with the exception of, I think, one driver at the back, we've got everybody through the first 2 turns. However, at turn 3, we've got a big issue. Don't see who the driver was who went off. I think it's kart number 86. Well, if it's kart 86, it was one of the guys from way back. Did you spot him, Chris?
Yeah, I was going to say before that we had a bit of a pileup at turn 1 as well, and one of them got caught out was Shanika Clay, the driver that finished on the podium at Genk. So Shanika is almost at the back of the field now.
And incidentally, it was one of our visitors from the USA, Juan Manuel Correa, who got caught out there. He went through 12th. He's now well detached in last place.
Looks like Josh Price has made a decent start to proceedings. I think he's just got the lead of the race over the back of the circuit. We'll see when they come back towards us. Oh, no, hang on. There's been a spin in the front group. Is that with the green helmet? Is that Josh?
I think it was certainly one of the front runners, isn't it? Let's have a look at what we can see from screen. Well, there's no question about it that our race leader is Yuri Vips. Connor Hall and Josh Price have gone through. It was Dave Wooder, was it? David Wooder. Oh, and the lady who we talked about looking for a boyfriend, she's got herself a little bit of a good fortune there, because the misfortune, she was running about 20th and is up to 14th. Dave Wooder, the loser, down to 22nd.
Bit of wheel banging going on for 2nd place here. Josh Price and Connor Hall. Connor Hall ran wide on the exit to turn 3. Josh Price got at the inside. The banged wheels on the way through. Connor Hall banged wheels to get back the position, and it's allowed Van Kamphout to get onto their tails. So second, third and fourth, I think, possibly swapping positions there. We'll see when they come back around. All of it is helping the race leader, Yuri Vips, to just fly away from them. So Yuri Vips, 1.3 seconds clear at the end of lap 1. Much more than that now.
All of it, isn't it? As I often say in commentary, the real beneficiary from a good dice for second and third is the leader. Yuri Vips making the most of it.
Yeah, and Connor Hall.
Yuri Vips there, all on his own, but getting a little bit of a twitch on, and doesn't look totally comfortable. I'm going to keep my eye on Yuri Vips, because with Josh Price in second place, Yuri Vips has got a big lead, 2.25 seconds. Well, having said that, he looks a lot more confident now. Is negotiating those first S's and onto the return home straight, the short straight, pretty much okay. But Yuri Vips not showing total confidence on the approach to the home straight and on the home straight. In fact, as I look down that fast back straight, I would wager that Josh Price is getting a little bit closer. So maybe it's only a short race, it's a 7-lap race, this is lap 3, but maybe Yuri Vips' lead of 2.25 seconds is not necessarily good enough. Connor Hall behind Josh Price, Rinus van Kamphout running fourth, and it's Ismail, cart number 20. He's had a good start, hasn't he? Getting himself into the top 5. Omar Ismail.
Yeah, Connor Hall fell back a lot when they had that wheel banging, and then the subsequent corner. They really did spread out, and Price was able to get away, and Connor Hall lost the best part of a second and a half while all that was going on. So he's still third, but quite a long way back now. Josh Price gets a quick lap in there. Josh Price is 4 tenths quicker than the race leader, so he brings the gap down to 1.9 seconds. There you can see them going through on screen, coming through turn 3 into turn 4. Now watch the third place kart here, Connor Hall, coming out of the next turn and into turn 4. If we see him about to come into this next turn, that's where he keeps running wide and struggling there. He's got big understeer issues through turn 4, Connor Hall, and it has been allowing other drivers to get onto his tail, Van Kamphout inclusive. I'm afraid Thomas Issa, the Jamaican driver who qualified very well, has fallen to the back of the field. Does a lot of his racing, of course, in Jamaica, and has raced in Florida. So I can't imagine he's done a great deal of wet weather driving, and certainly not here at this track. So he's really up against it. Most of them still running. We've only lost one driver, which is the number 28 kart of Leonard Hugenboom. He did start well up the order. He started on the third row of the grid, so Leonard Hugenboom going out early on. Otherwise, you can see his kart there on the left side of the screen if you're watching online, or parked up on the grass. Otherwise, they're all still running. The leader comes through.
And again, Yuri Vips not looking at all comfortable on this part of the circuit, Chris.
That's right, yeah, just clipping the curb, running a bit wide. He lost a bit of time on that lap to Josh Price, but only a tenth of a second. So Josh slightly quicker, but only slightly on that lap. Connor Hall goes through. He's about a second a lap slow. The two leaders are in the 109s. Connor Hall in the high 1 minute 10s, and he's a couple of tenths quicker than Van Kamphout. And again, he's pulling away from Ismail in 5th place. Ralph Aron has come back up to 6th position now in the number 14 kart. So Ralph Aron, the Estonian driver, has come back up into the top 6. There you can see the leaders running through the front of shot, going through turn 7 at the end of the back straight. There's Connor Hall, still coming under pressure from the Dutch driver Van Kamphout. And then 5th, 6th and 7th all running together there. Ventura is getting in the mix as well, trying to get ahead of Ralph Aron. So a real battle going on the fringes of the top 6. Gap creeping down between the top 2. But Ken, it's all about this battle for 3rd place here, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I wouldn't want to rule out the 1st and 2nd as well, but 3rd, 4th, 5th, those guys are a lot closer order, aren't they? Connor Hall, kart 22, Rinus van Kamphout, kart 32, Omar Ismail, kart 20, as Yuri Vips sets off on lap 6 of 7. The lead actually now 1.5 seconds, and Josh Price certainly going faster by a margin of 0.25 of a second, a quarter of a second quicker. A driving standards flag has been shown to kart number 20. The driving standards flag to kart number 20. That's Omar Ismail.
Yeah.
Omar running in 6th place, but picking up a warning flag. It's the equivalent of the yellow card in soccer. Remember, we've got the 2 and out ruling in this series. This is lap 6 of a 7-lap race, so 1.5 laps remaining. Yuri Vips, I wouldn't say as home and dry, but he's certainly in the box seat now. But Price second, Hall third, still plenty to race for. Our pictures there show you the huge gap, really foreshortening normally, but to my eye making it look even wider, the distance. Okay, just waiting to see them come. That's the penultimate turn at the top of your screen. There is our race leader, Yuri Vips, driving into it onto the home circuit. This is the final lap, the start of the final lap. Yuri Vips's lead over Josh Price increases to 1.7, so unless there's an error by Yuri Vips or a mechanical problem, the Estonian looks like coming home with this one and a victory in race 4.
Still some big battles going on the fringes of the top 6 and top 10. Dries van Ter got into 6th place at the start of this lap. Got ahead of Omar Ismail, who's the driver, number 20 in 7th place, who's received that warning from the officials, because there was a bit of bumping and boring going on in that battle for 6th on the previous lap. Up into 8th place now has come Lorenzo van Riet from 15th on the grid. And having had his dramas at the start of the race, Juan Manuel Correa has come back up in kart number 86, back into the top 10. He's in fact running in 9th place. Damian Wisnicki, another driver that's done well. He's come from 17th on the grid up into the top 10. And quite a few drivers who got caught out early on have made some progress back up the order. Up ahead, though, a 1.7 second advantage for Yuri Vips, and it looks like here he comes, the Estonian. He's going to take the checkered flag. Very, very wide on the exit. He clenches his fist. He was all over the curbs on the way out of the final turn, but he controlled it, and he clenches his fist. He's delighted with the victory. Josh Price continuing his fine run of form. He's second. Connor Hall across the line now in 3rd place. Then in 4th position, it's Rinus van Kampthout. Ralph Aron, number 14, was 5th. And in 6th place was Dries van Ter.
Chris, you mentioned how well Juan Manuel Correa rebuilt himself from outside of the top 20 into the top 10 at number 10. He found a problem on the final lap and eventually finishes 16th, just in front of Shanaka Clay. So a very eventful drive for the American, but it's all part of learning, isn't it? Yuri Vips, incidentally, with the hands in the air. This is such a strength-in-depth competition. If you win a heat, you're entitled to celebrate. Well done, Yuri Vips. Our screen showing 1.7 seconds to the good for Yuri Vips from Josh Price 2nd and Connor Hall 3rd. Ralph Aron, the Estonian, 4th. Rinus van Kampthout, the Dutchman, in the top 5. Dries van Ter came on strongly late on in that Maranello for 6th place. Lorenzo van Riet, driving for Berry Torrenvliet's team, 7th. Omar Ismail, an eventful race, for 8th. Damian Wisnicki, as Chris Hartley said, coming from way down the grid for a top 10 finish in 9th place. And the ice hockey player from the Czech Republic, Thomas Salva, making the top 10.
Yeah, very, very good drive that by the Estonian. Yuri Vips wins his first heat. That sets him up nicely. Josh Price and then Connor Hall, though, pushing him on nicely. So Connor Hall there, one of the drivers that is the sharp end of the championship, 2nd in the championship, 3rd in that race. Let's find out what happened. He's down speaking with Sarah Dryhurst.
Well, I'm here with Connor Hall, who's had a very successful race, up to 1st and then down to 3rd. Bit too much excitement out there?
Yeah, had a good start. And then dropped off a little bit midway through the race and held on to 3rd. So, no, good result. Good points for the pre-final.
So you're happy with the steady rest of the race then?
Yeah, I think it's alright. As long as we're at the front for the pre-final, should be good.
And then you can concentrate your efforts for the rest of the day, pushing up.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Best of luck to you, Connor. Well done.
Thanks very much, Sarah. Yeah, good to hear from Connor. He's a pretty confident young man, but he's also very level-headed. And he made the point there, Connor, that there are no championship points available today. This is heats. This is qualifying racing, effectively.